All right. Thank you so much. Well, welcome back to Marketing Mondays. I know for me, it's so good to be back after a couple of weeks away. One week, I was fortunate to be on vacation with my family to the Outer Banks, which we loved. And then the other one, so last week, we were at the Visit North Carolina Tourism Conference, which was in Greenville, North Carolina. So shout out to all of our DLOs and our Uplift communities that were able to come, as well as Greenville, North Carolina, which was a great host. So from this first picture, you can see Simon, you can see Hessa, Carol, that's Angela Allen from Granville, and then myself out front of the Greenville Convention Center last week. So we'll be sharing a lot of what we were able to attend last week. And then just to kind of a shout out for some of the others that were there, Martin County, Edgecombe, Granville, Robinson, Richmond, Sampson, Wilkes, among others. Hopefully I just pronounced everybody's counties correctly. If not, please let me know so I don't do it again. And also I want to thank Kara for hosting the storytelling session a couple of weeks ago. I'm just getting back, so I'm excited to listen to it later this week. And then, yeah, so this week we're going to cover the most important takeaways from our experience where we attended keynote speakers, the Visit NC update, partner programs, some of the breakout sessions. And if you're interested in receiving any of the additional notes, I'm happy to share some of those presentations with you all as they typically do that after the conference. And I believe they sent an email out earlier. I just need to take a look at it, but hopefully the links are in. So without further ado, quick introduction if you're new. Kara Treadway, one of our amazing Marketing Monday hosts, and myself, PJ Wierchansky. We are both part of the Uplift team and very excited to be here again. So before we dive in, I want to thank North Carolina State Office of Tourism, as well as all of their fantastic speakers and the programming. So this presentation would not be possible without them. So I just want to make sure that I give them proper credit because they did an amazing job. So for those of you who weren't able to attend, just to talk quickly about what the Visit North Carolina Tourism Conference is. It is the state's premier travel industry event. It brings together close to 600 of the state's tourism industry leaders. It provides opportunities to catch up on the latest trends and issues that are facing the travel industry, hear insights from tourism experts, and also get to network with other travel and tourism professionals. So it's a fantastic event. I can't speak highly enough about it. And in that photo there, Simon is in the middle. Hessa is listening intently, as is Carol, Dr. Klein. It was all of the sessions seemed to have full houses, so very well attended. All right, so sorry you have to look at me. I was running out of pictures of the event that I had taken that I thought were appropriate. But that was our booth at the conference, and we had a lot of great people that came by. And thank you to Hessa and Simon and Carol for managing. All right, so let's look at today's blueprint. So based on the sessions that I went to, we're going to briefly talk about big data and discoveries, more of a did you know summary. Then we'll briefly get into brand mentality, just a brief session about things to keep in mind as we grow our audiences. One of the ones I'm really excited about is short form video. I know that Kara's talked about it in the past, and we've talked about it with trends. There's a new startup that's taking short form video to a new level and for the travel and tourism industry. So I want to make sure we get to talk about that a little bit. Then we're going to briefly cover the Visit North Carolina Partner Program or co-ops. Just a high level summary of what the program is and their offerings. And another big one that was very popular was one of the keynotes on artificial intelligence. So this one was specifically for destination marketing. That was compliments of the AI Marketing Institute. Then we'll cover predictions for travel journalism and briefly go through the top trends for travel journalists, influencers, creators. And then we'll talk about a trend in tourism advertising for 2024 and what's coming, kind of a big change. And then also we'll get into building an audience via owned media. And so why owned media is the way to go if we can develop this key audience. And then we'll kind of close out with some of the Visit NC updates, what they're working on this year and how it might affect world tourism. And then my key takeaways, and then we'll leave some time for Q&A. All right, lots of stuff, but as always, like we say in Marketing Mondays, small efforts for a big impact. So we're going to kind of go through all of these together. All right, so the first two were kind of brief sessions, so I'm going to include those on one slide. But the biggest thing that I got out of this big data discovery is one, that it is multifaceted. This has been such a big topic for the last 10 years or so, but we have to remember that it's always changing, and it may not be what everyone thinks it is, or at least to the extent that it is. And so Zartico, who was the one that hosted this seminar, they let us know that only about 7% of geolocation traveler data is captured and shared. It's a very small percentage. It captures a small sample. It's not always consistent, and it's not always on, so to speak. So, it does tell us where people are coming from and when they were in certain locations, but it's a very small percentage. And we'll get into it a little bit later with one of the travel trends in paid advertising. But it's becoming, more secure. Our privacy is being respected a bit more, at least that's what we're being told. And so that does impact big data. So the big takeaway for this was that, at least for us, for small communities, that will only produce really small sample sizes. And we also have to think about the potential of a cookieless society, or being cookieless in the future, with our data being tracked. The next, brand mentality. So talk about the A, B, C, and D's of increasing brand awareness and building trust. Thought this was kind of interesting. So A is attract. B is being mindful of our brand and what that means to our audience. C, and connect or engage meaningfully. And then also D, being direct with our audience. And that helps to build awareness. That's the gist of the message. Two, our audiences are hypersensitive to how we react to specific challenges, social topics, politics, and values. The good news is, if they are hypersensitive to us, then they see us as more than a brand, as a personality. And that's what we want. But it also means that things can change very quickly. And so we need to be mindful of our audiences and how we react and how we communicate. We need to listen as well. Being cohesive, we need to remember that implementing a cohesive strategy is key. And customer values are always changing. So it's important to keep up with that. Subscribe to the Uplift newsletter, the Visit NC newsletter. We need to listen with purpose. I mean, we can all attest to a few years ago what our values were as far as safety and cleanliness, and not that has necessarily changed, but our values change. Now we can go out and do things again. So people are traveling more. And so we just need to be mindful that things are always changing. So it's about our speed of response, our authenticity of our actions, and also the agility, being agile to adapt. So the big takeaway is the ABCDs. So attract, be mindful of our brand, connect meaningfully, and be direct with our audiences. All right, so short form video itineraries. This was really cool. This was put on by a startup, but it's a pretty new group called Stellar. And what they talked about was that short form video, we all know, we've covered before, is one of the most engaging forms of digital content that we consume. On average, we consume 17 to 19 hours a week of digital content. So the power of human narrative is certainly undeniable. And about 85% of individuals make decisions based on video. But here's the challenge. Travel videos aren't necessarily actionable in the sense of bookings. So this company, Stellar, is trying to change this. And so what they've done is they've created an application that would live almost like part of their website and on their platform that you can actually interact with. So it'll show you short-form videos, it features destinations, and then you can book directly. So it's something that you should stay tuned to our newsletters and our social media, because we're working on whether this is something that we can help facilitate. I know that Carol and Simon and myself, maybe Hessa, are going to be having a call with them soon to find out if we can help implement some of that with our destinations. And so stay tuned because we might need your help in putting some of this together. All right, so the Visit North Carolina Partner Program, excuse me, if you're not familiar, Visit NC works with an agency, it's LGA or Luke Wire, who are out of Charlotte, and they develop and offer travel destinations and organizations affordable cooperative advertising marketing programs. So, each year they evaluate which ones worked, which ones they want to get into. They, look at the latest trends, and base those decisions on what to offer for the following year. So what they are offering this year, which they've done in the past, is they have offerings in public relations, traditional print, which tends to be a little bit more expensive, but the digital campaigns really can go a long way. And I would look at them as almost like an entry level to get into some of their cooperative programs. And typically, you can leverage some of the state's resources. Either they have negotiated lower rates or they'll even contribute to it. So it's definitely something I recommend. With digital campaigns, they offer social, display, listings on the website or events, and also e-news. And then they've got some special programs like Outdoor NC to really promote the outdoors, as well as Retire NC for communities that are looking to target those looking to retire in North Carolina. They also offer some consulting, which of course Uplift can help you with as well, some video production, some research. So the big takeaway is that it's a great opportunity to leverage state resources to reach target audiences. And I'm certainly happy to set up a time to discuss these opportunities with you. I have worked at other properties and personally used them, and I can share what I felt like was really valuable and what I might steer away from. But most of the programs are great, so I want to encourage you all there. And we can double check with HESA, but I know that Uplift, as part of the Uplift program, we're offering some stipend for this past year's program. So we can certainly follow up on that as well. All right, so AI, that is what we hear about all the time. And I know I covered it in trends recently. In my takeaway at the time, and it hasn't changed too much, is that I think that it can be beneficial for what we do. I don't necessarily feel like we all have to do it, but I thought this was really good to attend to understand more about the tools and what's available. And there's a lot here, so I'm going to try to go through them fairly quickly. But the Marketing AI Institute put on this session, they were incredibly helpful in understanding these benefits as well as some recommendations. And at the very end, I'll try to get some of these links together so that you all can take a look at them as well. But the marketingaiinstitute.com is one, and that is who put the session on. So it's a great resource. And it really does have the potential to transform some of your marketing efforts to save you time. So, the one thing they kept really telling us over and over was it's not about taking over, but it's about utilizing it effectively to be a resource for you. So first, to determine whether AI would be useful, some questions to ask yourself, is what I'm trying to do task data driven? Is it repetitive? Is it making a prediction? Or is it generative? Is it trying to generate a solution? And if it's yes, the answer is yes to any of these, then it is certainly an option. So looking at AI and content creation, it's great for coming up with ideas for articles, personalized itineraries, destination video ideas. So I think that's definitely a great purpose for AI with content creation, which kind of leads into social media. It can summarize content. It can help write posts in your own brand voice. It can help you create video ideas, come up with a content calendar, and also help kind of organize everything. So I definitely feel like that's a good one as well. Paid advertising. This was something I didn't realize that it could do, but it can create heat maps. So if y'all have ever seen, there's I think we went over this a few weeks ago, but Crazy Egg is a online solution where it will record where people are on your website. So you can kind of see where people tend to gravitate towards, but AI apparently can estimate that ahead of time. This is great for if you're launching a new website. We can also create multiple variations of creative elements and design for you, so you can kind of see what you like best before you launch a campaign. And then as far as next steps, what they recommend is that you choose one AI assistant to try out, whether it's ChatGPT. They recommended ChatGPT Plus. That one, I believe, is about $20 a month. There's another one which I have not looked into yet called Gemini Advanced, and another one called Claude 3. And I'll try to put these also in the chat at the very end. The second thing to do is to learn how to prompt effectively. So really thinking about who's my audience, what are the instructions that I'm trying to give to get what I want? Are there examples? And then to make sure you review it before you take to the next step. And then also, they offer a course, or there's a website called pilotingai.com, which helps you to learn the prompt. So I thought that was really interesting as well. So, somewhere later on in Marketing Mondays, we're going to be putting together a specific session dedicated just to AI. Once we've had a little bit more time to do some research on your behalf, they had recommended about 20 different AI tools. And so you need a little bit more time to kind of dive into those to see what we might recommend. But the big takeaway, AI is not your competition. Think of it as another member of your team. It's your co-pilot. All right, that was a lot. Next one is predictions for travel journalism. So really talked about immersive technology, because that elevates storytelling with augmented reality, virtual reality. Of course, AI curated travel content really will transform the experience with customized itineraries, for example. Ironically, there's a lot with AI, but also the demand for authenticity is still there. So, really thinking about community-driven storytelling. Also, sustainable and ethical travel is big. People who are traveling, they respect the cultures, they respect the local economies, and they really want to go to places where there's minimal impact on the location. And then, like me, representation. Thinking about diverse voices and stories. Thinking about your audience, you want to be mindful of everyone who's coming. So it doesn't mean 100% of your photos need to look like a specific type of audience, but you want to vary it so that everybody can see themselves being welcomed at your destination. So the big takeaway is it's about digital domination, as they called it. Instagram, TikTok, blogs, digital news, influencers. They're hyper-connected, they're visual storytellers, they are very interactive and engaging, they adapt, and they are data-driven. That is where it's headed. All right, so tourism advertising. So what's coming in 2024? This is really based on privacy frameworks and geolocation. So, things are moving from working in the background to working more in the foreground. So, really need to be using your phone and agree to sharing data for networks to retrieve your data. So from a security standpoint, it's great. From a privacy standpoint, it's great. From advertising and big data, things are going to just be more expensive probably. And niche audiences are going to be a little bit harder to track because they're so small. So 5 things to know. 1, traditional retargeting is facing headwinds, which is going to be a little bit more challenging as privacy becomes more important to people. Niche audiences are likely to become expensive. Digital demographic targeting might become less reliable just because of the lack of data that's coming in. Agencies are leaning into contextual targeting strategies based on context. And then first-party data is going to be playing a larger role. So think about information being collected from your customer base, your subscribers, your site visitors. So the big takeaway here is to stay tuned to Uplift and our social media and our eDo's as things will be changing. And this kind of leads us into our next session on owned media, which I thought was really cool. This was a great session. It definitely takes some work and some great storytelling, but I think it's something that shows us what's possible. So when we think about owned media, let's review the types of media. So first is earned media, and that's any material that's written about you or your organization that you haven't paid for or created yourself. Next is shared media, and that's your content on an external platform. So you put together the post and the picture, and you put it on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. And then this is more owned media, where you own 100% of it, from content on your website, if it's your own podcast, email campaigns. 100% of it is your creation on your platforms. So the major benefits of that is that we control the narrative, the value of the audience increases because they are engaged in our brand, and then we build trust through relationship development. So the example that they shared was with Reese Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine, which started as a book club. And then once she realized how many books were being sold because of her recommendations, then she became like the publisher and also the distributor. And so, production company, clothing company, all these things that came out of her audience growing and being so engaged and loyal to her. So she really believed that she could do it. She invested in her brand, and now she is believed to be the wealthiest actress of all time, which I didn't know. So that was pretty incredible. Good for her. So the big takeaway here is building your own media. It is challenging, but it can be done through great storytelling, engaging content, and authenticity. So it's just about finding your niche. All right, we're getting close here. I know we're starting to run out of time. So some updates from the State Office of Tourism. They are launching their new website later this year. So that's pretty exciting. As they've said, every couple of years you have to update it. They're doing it this year. Some core objectives include positioning North Carolina as a top destination for US and Canadian travelers, increasing the awareness of signature tourism offerings, spotlighting diverse communities and multicultural experiences, authentic storytellers. Outdoors and sea and accessibility is really big for them as well. School sports, travel industry, they're really working on trying to secure finances or resources for that. They announced that North Carolina is now the 5th most visited state, which is great. I think we moved from 6th to 5th. However, we are 35th in funding. So if you have any opportunities to express the importance of how much we need more funding for the state's tourism, please do, because it's great and they're doing an awesome job. They just shared 2022 numbers that there was an estimated $33 billion in tourism related spending in North Carolina. And then their key messages involve arts and culture, culinary, outdoors, multi-generational, diversity and inclusion, growth and innovation, sustainability, and sport. So I think the big takeaway, just like Uplift, is in North Carolina is working with all of us. They really are promoting the outdoors, rural tourism, agritourism, cultural and historical experiences, and they're all about being community driven. All right, so my key takeaways, I think digital itineraries are going to be, if not already, the latest and greatest thing as far as video content. And so we'll keep you posted on whether we can form a partnership with Stellar. The Visit North Carolina partner programs for 2024-2025 have some great opportunities. We're happy to set up a time to discuss some opportunities with you. AI in destination marketing. AI is your co-pilot. Remember, it's an extra resource to help you save time. In travel journalism, it is all about digital domination. Own media, if you can do it, is great because it allows you to own 100% of the content in your audience, and they're very valuable. So great stuff there. And then I believe that rural tourism is positioned to succeed. They are promoting the outdoors. They are promoting rural tourism, agritourism, historical experiences, culture, local economies, and they love promoting small town local.